Model Monday.
Hello, my name is Lucie Petit. I'm a French model in Hong Kong, and today I'm going to introduce you Mia and Rosemary, who both joined HK Model Camp. So hello girls, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah. Okay, so my name is Rosemary. I joined the first Hong Kong model camp, and I've been freelance modeling for almost a year, and right now I'm doing some content creating job. Yeah.
My name is Mia, and I also joined the first model camp with Lucy and Rosemary as well. And right now I'm still modeling, and I'm also studying at the University of San Francisco.
Awesome. So you girls met already beforehand, you were already knowing each other, and then after the camp you ended up doing a shoot together through my friend Matt. So how did that go?
Sha la 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 la.
It's actually so fun. Like I didn't expect it's gonna be fun, because I was like, oh, just another test shoot. But after like looking at the styling and how much effort they put in, it's actually really amazing.
It was a very new theme for me because they were doing something very futuristic,
Yeah.
and it was like crazy makeup, crazy hair, like even the outfits were very, very like out there. And yeah, it was new for me, so I enjoyed it as well.
I have never seen myself like that.
Yeah,
With that
it's actually good to have a look of the photos now, just to go through it.
I really like that.
So
Yeah, I really like that Fendi.
Yeah. Did you do like the makeup, like painted?
Yeah, they
by
painted
hand, or was
there
it?
when I was there.
That's cool.
And they did like hair extensions for me, and I felt like a snake, like the Chinese snake woman with the hair. It's so
Yeah.
pretty, it's so funny. Yeah, I really like this one
That one that you're on.
Yeah, the one picture. I think right after this, I fainted.
too. Yeah, but it was pretty like stuffy in the studio.
I don't know, but I'm like generally very prone to fainting anyway, so it's not.
Yeah.
I don't think it had anything to do with the studio.
Yeah.
It's just me.
Yeah, and I actually heard from Matt and the rest of the team that you were like super professional for like taking
Yeah.
over the outfits and everything that came after,
Yeah.
because unfortunately you were not able to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It would be so fun if we should do another shoot.
Another one.
Yeah.
We were so
Trauma.
excited beforehand. We were like, oh my
Yeah.
god, we're finally shooting together.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I mean the team prepared so much, so it's always
They were
good to
very
yeah.
nice. They gave me water. They
Yeah.
bought me like a sports drink too.
So sweet.
Nice.
Oh well, no, there'll be other options I'm sure for you to work again together.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So we met for the first time in person at camp.
Yeah.
How did it go? That was last summer actually. Yeah, end of August last summer. You signed with, you ended up joining Elite Model Camp. No,
Model
Elite
Look.
Model Look.
Yeah.
How did that go?
It's actually pretty unexpected because when I was like 16, I always wanted to be a model, but I never actually did it. So I only recently started, like for the past year, I started modeling. But I remember when I was 16, I did submit like photos to Elite Model Look, and obviously they didn't get back. But I was like, oh my god, I want to be an international model at that time. But I was like, okay, it's never gonna happen to me. So last summer, like before summer, I just submitted like randomly after taking a few like digitals. I'm like, oh, if I have the photos, then I would just might as well send in. And at first they contacted me through email and they asked me to send more snapshots, and I'm like, whatever, I'm just not gonna get in, so I didn't send. But later on, they sent me another email to ask me for photos, and I actually asked my friend to help me take some snapshots and send it to them, and I actually got in. So it was really unexpected. Like I would never, like the 16-year-old me would never thought that I would got in. Not like I won or anything, but the whole experience is so nice. Like I got to meet like models around the world and also talk to like CEOs of like elite model groups. So it's like really fun.
Awesome experience, and it's interesting to hear as well, because sometimes like it's true that when we're younger we tend to think like I'm not gonna get the shot, or like you do give it a shot and then nothing happened and you're like, okay, like so that means that it's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
But you did give a second
Yeah.
shot and you actually got in, so
Yeah.
good on you and
Yeah.
congrats for that.
Thank you. It's such a nice experience. Like, because at that time we also joined the Coco Rocha camp. So it's like I did macro, even though it's like the restrictions of COVID, we macro through Zoom. And I also have the model mentor, Isabelli. So it's like really surreal for the whole experience. Like I'm connecting to all those people under COVID, but also I'm actually meeting them. Like I would never have the chance to meet them if I wasn't in the competition.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so how did you go? Did you have like challenges? What was it all about? What did you have to do?
Yeah. So basically we have different like 2-3 challenges. So we submit photos the first time because we're also having like a collab with another brand. So we did like some photo shoots in Hong Kong and they connect me to a like local photographer for one shoot, and the other ones are like more like digital campaign that we do on our own, and then we just send in photos and they will combine it and put it in clips to let more people to see it and let more like young girls to actually join the family of Lily Malolo.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And would you have liked to join Elites, or at this time you were just thinking, oh, I'm gonna focus more on the study and work and?
Yeah. So basically, I have thought of it, but then since I've already graduated and modeling is really fun, I really enjoy it, but it might not be the like full-time thing for me. Like especially with traditional family background, and also I'm actually really interested in marketing and stuff. So I would keep it as freelance, and I can also like use my time to have more professional experience in marketing and content creating, and maybe because it's also in the creative industry and I can always see like different models and go to shoots, so I just need to figure out like how I can combine them all together.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because it is, at the end of the day, and we talked about it at camp as well, like modeling, it's acting, it's dancing, it's like singing, like there's so many different creative jobs that you can like relate to modeling as well and extend from this.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure, like modeling like not just builds your confidence as well, but also it gives you like this creativity to push yourself more.
Yeah. Especially when like going to shoots, you met so many creatives, and they just inspire you a lot when you're like meeting photographer and kind of different mood boards, and you're like, wow. Also for modeling, you can try different looks, and you can always do something that you think you're not capable of too.
Yeah. And the kind of look that sometimes like you tend to, like see yourself in one certain way and go for that look, but then like trying different things, like again, like this shoot that you girls did, like you look so different, but it's so interesting because that's another side of you that you wouldn't necessarily, show on a regular basis, but from time to time trying different things, what's so exciting about this job as well.
It is, for sure. Like even with wedding jobs, like we were talking about earlier, like you never imagine you'd get to wear a wedding dress at like before you're 20 years old. But ends up that models, a lot of models end up doing that. So I think that's pretty cool. It's like acting kind of.
Yeah, totally. And for you, how has it been? So you've been on a few campaigns, so you're on buses all around Hong Kong.
It's so cool.
So shortly after the camp, I've gotten a lot of castings, and I think for some reason, even with COVID, like we're very lucky that I was very lucky that I still got to have some casting opportunities. I know that working is not really easy during COVID times, but for me, I was fortunate enough to still have opportunities. And so one of the jobs that I got was for Chicken Essence. it was a company called NPL Foods, and I had no idea that it was gonna be like a very big thing, but I went to like this huge studio in like the middle of nowhere, and it was just a very big
This is
production
usually where the big
studio.
ones are.
Yeah.
Which area is it?
It was near Clearwater Bay.
Yeah.
And so I did the commercial and I did a little bit of photo shooting as well. And it turns out like they ended up using it for buses, like the big KMB buses in Hong Kong and some of the big billboards in Hong Kong, and also on TV. So it was really cool to see myself like blown up like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember like first time when it just started like actually being spread on all the buses, I went down the road and I literally like I was like thinking about model camp, like the things I gotta do, the girls like like catching up with you girls and everything.
Yeah.
And I saw you on the bus and I was like, what?
Yeah, I was like, Mom, that's my friend, you know that Japanese girl, that's my friend.
That was, even I didn't know that. I didn't know when the release date was. So one day the TV was just on and I heard my own voice and I was like,
That's me.
Oh my god. Your
It's
dad
so-
must be so proud, right?
yeah, he was also there in the living room when it first came out. So
Awesome. And so how has it been for you girls? Because so you've been on a few buses, like quite, in the press, like in the media, quite obviously, if I may say, you as well, with the campaigns that you did for 68. Did you ever feel girls like, walking on the street and like feeling stared by people, or like, have you ever had this kind of feeling before? Or
for me, no.
Yeah.
I would never gotten recognized before. I don't know if it's because we had to wear masks outside.
Yeah.
that too?
I don't know. I just, yeah, I never really gotten recognized by people on the streets.
Yet.
Hopefully one day.
Yeah. And would that be something that like would would you be interested in like being known and recognized in the street, or is this actually something that you kind of like want to avoid, if you know what I mean?
I think I never really thought of it very, deeply before. I don't think I would avoid it though. It would be nice if someone came up to me and they're like, "Are you the girl on the bus?" Like,
Yeah.
that would be pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah. I think David asked me the same question when he saw the ads at 68, and I was like, okay, I never thought of it, because 68 is kind of like lingerie. I'm like, yeah, I would be happy if someone recognized me, but so far there isn't any because of the COVID.
Yeah.
Or like it's just like people won't know. But it's like, yeah, I would be really proud. Like, oh, actually, I did something someone would recognize and put time and
Yeah.
realize it. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
And you should. And honestly, I'm asking that because like I've had some feedbacks before from girls that like who do a job and then not be so comfortable that like being seen out there. But I think, yeah, as you say, you girls, like you should be proud of what you've achieved, and especially during this time with COVID and everything happening, it's actually proud of you like achieving all these things and seeing you out there. Honestly, it's nice to see you girls just doing you.
And you probably you gave us so much confidence after this like model camp. Like before that, I would never thought like I would actually do it. But then later on, sometimes when I'm like insecure, like embarrassed or scared when I'm going to a casting, I'm like, yeah, just be confident and just be yourself and just gonna go. Yeah.
It's true. It's like it's a mindset at the end of the day, and even for confidence, like so modeling, you do need training, but I've realized like even confidence, you do need training to train yourself to be more confident, because then you get it and you can actually just have this vibe and feel better about yourself. So awesome. So we actually ended up meeting quite recently again for a bit of a follow-up for a little bit of a training, and at the same time we had some social media creation done. So I'm gonna show you your video in a bit. Before that, I wanted to ask you, how do you see the modeling like market? As in, have you ever felt in competition with like one another, like having to compete with different models to get the job at a casting, this kind of thing? Or what's your vision about that?
I definitely grew up with so much like competition, especially in Hong Kong, or actually anywhere in the world really. Like my height is way below average. I'm actually 160 centimeters tall. So I remember every time I go to castings, when I fill out the form and I look at the height column and everyone's like 170, 180, I'm like 160. So that was probably one of my biggest like points of competition. But I feel like over time it became more of like I became a lot more confident with my height. Like back then I would always be like, oh, I didn't get the job and it's because of my height. But now it's more like, oh, if I didn't get the job because of my height, I that's just something that the client's not looking for. And I have gotten really good jobs despite, you know, not being very tall. So I do know now that there is a market out there for me, so I'm a lot more comfortable with that, and I don't really have any, like, you know, resentment or anything.
Yeah, I feel like that too, because before I was like, whenever I got commercial, like local commercials casting, I'm gonna be like, oh, they're not gonna choose me anyways, because I look too tan for the local market, and usually local clients, they look for more like pale girls and also like more Hong Kong-like. So at first I was like really demotivating, but later on I'm like, oh, it's just an experience to go to castings and learning like more. Sometimes the casting people would teach me how to pose and stuff and how to be in a commercial casting, and they would actually teach me. So like having to see more of that is pretty cool too. And at first I felt like when I first joined modeling, I felt like there's like huge competition, especially when there's so many new faces like every month, and there's always girls prettier, younger. And at first it's a little bit like, oh, I won't get the jobs. And later on, if I start getting the jobs, I feel like I'm more valued, and there's always a market for your type. So it's not like, especially when now it's like more accommodating the environment, like companies or clients are looking for different girls. So I don't feel like I'm in competition with other girls, and a lot of like the models I met are super nice. So I feel like, oh, I have friends in the industry, and if they're doing good, I'm happy for them. If I don't get the jobs, might be not suitable for me, but if I get it, like we will be happy for each other. And it's really even happier if I meet like friends and shoots, and it's like, wow, we are doing this together. It's like so exciting. Yeah.
That's the great thing about it, because sometimes, you know, you tend to have that feeling that you're in competition with other girls, where when you think about it, like we all look so different.
Yeah.
And again, like going back to your height, for example, for you that may have been something that kind of like make you feel like you may not get the job because of that. But again, you've been proven that there's different type of jobs as well that can suit you. And again, like honestly, like I'm always gonna see it, but like the first time we met and you did that first runway walk, and I was like, damn, like she's in the end the shortest girls among the others, but you had this attitude and this vibe and like this confidence that just literally took over. And even when I watched back this video when you actually walking the both of us together, and you can obviously like see a clear, you know, height difference. I'm like, yo, like honestly, you were rocking it no matter what. So no, it was
It's
amazing.
like a power Mia walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing, like, which I'm still kind of becoming a bit more comfortable with that with walking, especially because it's very, very difficult to find a runway job with a height, like, you know, below a certain height. So, I don't know, I always knew that I could walk. I mean, I have trained for like a while to actually practice my walk and go from, you know, like this type of walk to this, because there's so many different types of walks, and like I've trained a really long time for it, but still like I often think like, oh, I have the skill, but there isn't really that many opportunities to do it. But I have, like I walked for Harmony, and I walked a few smaller, like, you know, either school fashion shows or like charity fashion shows, and it's honestly, it's so rewarding to be able to, you know, to showcase a skill that you don't always have a chance to showcase.
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess it gave me a little bit more of an appreciation for these little opportunities. It's great, yeah.
So, like, you know, in the end, it's so bad. Like, if another of your girlfriend is getting the job, you'd be happy for her, because like the same way that she would be happy for you if you were to get it. And everyone is just so different that, you know, unless you really have like a girl who really looks alike, have the same, you know, have the same hairstyle, the same look, the same height kind of thing, then maybe there's like a bit of a competition feeling. But if not, like everyone is just so different. So it's hard to really, you know, have that feeling that you have to feel different.
For sure. And honestly, like this type of mindset is more needed in an industry like this, where it's all about how, well, not all about, but there's a huge part of it that relies on how you look. So I think that that's one of the things that kind of makes a lot of girls insecure in the industry. But I feel like, you know, the way that you talk about it, like feeling happy for one another, like that's really, really important in this industry. Like, if anyone ever gets into the industry, I think that's one of the first things that they have to learn. It's like, you know, they're not your rivals, like you're all on the same boat. You just have different features and you should be happy for each other.
Everyone's different, and it's true that even personality is actually nowadays like something that really makes you stand out compared to someone else. So, and that again, like you can't really fake it. You know, you're just you, and like no one is like you. So, in that sense, like everyone gets a shot as long as they actually give themselves the chance to be there and be a part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And how you think actually reflects a lot on how you look and how you do stuff. So when you're like on a more positive side, I feel like you're gonna look better, or if you go to casting, you'll be in a better mood and you're more easygoing to people. But if you're always like just focusing on the bad, then it's gonna be hard to, like, not only on your own, but when you present yourself, it's not gonna be the best like way. So
Exactly.
being happy and
People
having,
can feel it too.
People can feel it. Yeah.
That level of confidence as well. This is where like it goes.
It's all
that-
related.
yeah, totally. All right, so let's start
Oh my god.
the video that came out from our little training. So what we ended up doing, if you remind me what it was about. So we did a bit of an outdoor training separately, but all one-on-one, and so it was a bit of a working on different emotions. One way we didn't do so much of it, but mostly working on different emotions and exploring different sides of yourselves. So let's see what comes out of it. We're gonna watch Mia's first.
Let me tell you about me. Take it down in 1, 2, 3. I don't like my boys too sweet. I don't worry about you. I just worry about me. So you better run, run. You don't know what I mean. Take it down in 1, 2, 3. Phone is buzzing up, beep, beep. I don't care about you. I just care about me. So you better run, run.
The sad
So many faces.
Yeah, right. It's
She can be
crazy.
angry, she can be fierce, she can
Oh,
be
it was
cute, she
hard.
can be
You gave
sexy.
so much from it. Like we went, like that's you see like sadness, like nostalgia. At the same time, like then you're happy, then you're surprised, and like there's so many different emotions. It was so
Yeah.
nice to see.
I feel like the sad ones were the hardest because I
Yeah.
was in a good mood. Like I
I
had
can
to,
see that from your happy
yeah.
But yeah, this is where like acting skills like enter as well in terms of modeling, where like
Yeah.
testing yourself. But
Yeah.
what do you think about Mia's?
It's really cool.
Yes,
Like
video?
I don't think I can do that much like emotions in like one video. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Like,
Well,
'cause,
you
like,
know what?
Yeah.
Now we'll
Let's
find
see.
out.
We'll find out.
I don't even remember details. having, because I usually when I take photos, I'm always like smiley and happy.
Oh yeah.
And I never see myself in video of how like angry I get, like
Yeah.
that face. Yeah.
Yeah,
So how does it feel? Does it feel like weird, or is it actually interesting to
It's
see
actually
yourself
interesting
differently?
because I never seen, because I did that when I was like having shoots, so I would get that face, so I never see like if I move with that face, it was gonna
Yeah.
be like.
Because video is different as well from like actually taking
Yeah.
photos. And actually that like longer bit where you kind of like you look at it kind of like and you kind of start looking at like why are you staring at me kind of, and you get that vibe, and this is why it's interesting as well because it's really bringing up the acting side of it.
yeah.
And no, I think you girls did a great job. What do you think of Rosemary's performance on the video?
I feel like I've never seen you
Yeah.
angry. Like you're such a smiley person, so it's really interesting to see like how your face looks when it's, and there's a difference when you're fierce and when you're angry. So like I feel like what you mean when you say you've done that face in shoots is before
Yeah.
it's more like a fierce look, right?
Yeah, a serious, like
Yeah,
not
a serious,
smiley.
fierce look.
Yeah.
It's like definitely like really different from an angry look.
Yeah.
So I think that's like really new
Yeah.
for me to see.
Yeah. No, I love that because I tried in gym, I tried to like match up like every different single emotions I could find or like interesting bits that comes out of it, and yeah, that was really cool actually.
Yeah, I love the editing too. It's
Thank
like
you.
really amazing.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tried to make the most of it. I was like, this is like we did that so quickly at the end, like as well because it was both a training but at the same time like trying to catch some moments. And to be frankly honest, I didn't really know what to expect either when we did film that, and I ended up starting editing and I was like, this is okay, I'm gonna say that, I'm gonna say that, then I'm gonna say that. And I remember you girls being asking me like how long is like are you planning on like the video to be, and I was like, well, we'll see what comes out of it. And honestly I've got such a bunch of like different emotions from the both of you, and I was like, love it, gonna like show it as much as you can, it's
Yeah.
like, and even this like angry, a bit more fierce, fierce angry faces, I don't know, I kind of like it. You've got this like
Yeah.
different look with you that works very well.
I think it's very uncommon, especially in Hong Kong where it's a very commercial place. We're usually smiling
Yeah.
or I'm just a serious face, but it's never really angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good, to try different things. That obviously, again, like as you girls know, there's some expressions you're gonna use in, like according to different categories of modeling. So obviously, if you do end up like doing more commercial work, like a bit more, happy faces, gonna throw them all this like really angry, fierce looks. But it's good to be exposed to explore all of this as well.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Like even in Hong Kong, when there's advertisement shooting, like maybe they need a character who's angry.
Yeah.
So we
I've
never
heard that
know.
before.
Yeah. You have?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, you're not angry or annoyed enough. I'm like, I'm trying.
What was the role? Like when
It
you
was
just
like,
have to leave?
it was for an insurance like ad, so I just need to pretend to be really annoyed by my boyfriend and just need to like, like that. So I was like, oh, she was like, oh, be more annoyed, and I'm like, oh, I tried, like I can't.
Where you can do it, obviously.
Now I know.
Yeah. No, that was cool. All right, and a few other questions that I had for you as well was, is there anything that you're doing personally to feel more confident? Like, is there anything that you could think of?
I think genuinely like experience more, meet more people, and go to see what's out there in the world helps a lot. Because growing up, I'm not the most confident kid, and in high school, I'm still not really confident. And I realized later on, like what made me more and more confident, is like meeting more people, having more experience, and try to talk to people when like I'm out, just walk out of my comfort zone. And when you get more experience, like everything eventually like won't scare you that much, and people will feel like, oh, you seem so confident when facing like new situations. It's not like I've faced them before, but it's like more experience of facing new stuff. It's also a good practice to train the confidence.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's really as you say, like putting yourself and like putting yourself out there and getting out of that comfort zone, because in the end that's what kind of like hold you up a little bit. Like you think that you may not be like able to do that, but until you actually start doing it, that's the only way to really know and test how far you can go.
Yeah.
I think for me, I've always had a knack of acting confident in front of the camera. So off camera, I'm usually a very quiet, shy kind of person. But on camera, I can immediately, take that out of myself and be a completely different person. And I think I just grew up, doing all these things on stage. Like I used to dance a lot too. So people would tell me like, wow, you're so confident, you can dance in front of everyone and look so confident doing it. But I remember backstage I would be sweating and shaking. So it's just a thing that when I'm in front of the camera I sometimes click into it. But off camera, in order to gain confidence off camera, it's a little bit difficult for me. I think it's a bit harder because it's a lifetime process. For example, it's kind of like what you said, putting yourself out there to try new things. I remember I always went to castings and I would say oh, I don't speak Cantonese, I just speak English and a little bit of Japanese. So Cantonese was never in my resume. But I remember for that Chicken Essence ad, they asked me on set, they were like, actually, can you also say this line in Cantonese? I was like, what? I was so scared to do it, but I couldn't really say no because I was on the job. And then I did it, and then turns out it wasn't so bad. And even if I see it on TV now, it kind of makes me cringe a little bit. But at least I tried something new, and now I feel like I'm a bit more confident to say to casting directors when they ask me, do you speak Cantonese? I'll usually nowadays say oh, I can try to speak a little bit if you give me the lines.
Yeah.
So yeah, putting yourself out there to do new things is a huge thing that you need to do to gain confidence, which is not as easy as being said.
That's
Yeah.
true. But once you did it, it's ooh, it's just normal thing.
Yeah, and it feels good. In the end, you're like, oh, I put so much pressure on myself, and at the end of the day, it wasn't that bad, So
Yeah.
Don't worry too much.
Yeah.
For sure.
And it's true that there's a difference as well, as you say, in between, growing confidence as being on the street or just being on set is just so different because you can get into that character of that person that is if you act confident, then you are going to be confident. Whereas sometimes where you're just yourself, you're well, I'm only myself, so how can I be confident, become confident? But
Fake
then
it till you make
yeah, it's just funny because fake it until you make it, I tend to dislike it because some people sometimes think that if you pretend to be someone or fake, I don't know,
Yeah.
fake jobs, making yourself, making up a life for yourself, this is wrong. But in terms of confidence, if you fake confidence, you will make it happen, and that's a real thing.
That's true, yeah. Even outside modeling, you kind of have to do that with job interviews and
Yeah.
when you're doing a pitch in front of your clients.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it applies to things outside.
bringing the casting vibes to this interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
Definitely.
And yeah, one more thing as well is so last time we did end up meeting for our one-on-one, you had a casting afterwards.
Yes.
So how did that go? Tell us a bit more about that.
It was it's a funny story. The person who gave me the casting was actually not an agent that I've worked with before, so I had no idea who this person was. They just sent me a message request on Instagram, and it was just this person who I don't know, and I don't know if this is a real agent. So I was honestly a little bit sketched out at first, which happens a lot in modeling. And then
Which is good because you may you better actually be a bit ooh, is this gonna be right?
Yeah.
Rather than be oh, this is gonna be right, and then you end up you're oh no, it's
Yeah.
not actually. That's a fake person, or that's someone that pretended to be someone.
Yeah.
So
that can
that
go
was a
wrong.
good thing,
Yeah.
But it went well.
Yeah, so I went to the one-on-one with you where we worked on the facial expressions and different emotions, and then I ended up going to this casting, and it was it wasn't even a casting studio like it normally would be. It was a residential estate, and that sketched me out even more. I was like, why am I in a person's house? And then I went to the lobby and I rang the bell, but no one answered. answered. So I was just like standing out at the lobby like texting this person, but I didn't get an answer, and I was waiting for quite a while, and I was like, you know what, if I don't get a reply in like the next 10 minutes, I'm gonna go home. But then thankfully I got a reply, and I went up, and then they told me it was a fast food job, and I didn't know like what fast food it was, but I just saw like this McDonald's box on the side with like a chicken in it. So I took it, and they were like, okay, we need you to dance and eat the chicken. And I was like, dance like what? And they're like, oh, just do like what you feel is best. So then they started playing Savage. Like, I'm a savage.
Yeah. How do you want to eat chicken? I'm like, I'm a savage.
I know, yeah. So I thought, like, you know, normally you go to castings and if they tell you to dance, it's more of a cute little like.
Yeah.
But they were playing that song, so I was like, okay. And I just like.
See the video, yes.
I also want to see the video of my casting. So I started dancing like I was at a club and eating this chicken. And then they were like, okay, thank you. And I went home. And I still had no idea like what this job was for. And then they were like, okay, you've been selected. And then I went to the fitting, and then I was like, so what company is this for? And they were like, McDonald's. And I was like, what? And that was like crazy to me because like that's probably one of the biggest companies that I've like got to model for, and I love McDonald's. So yeah, it was really amazing. I did the shoot, and it ended up being on TV and like YouTube ads and print also. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah, and the one-on-one really helped as well because like otherwise maybe I wouldn't have been that confident like dancing
Yeah.
to a hip hop song in front of the casting directors. But I had practice. You know, I was dancing a little bit too
Yeah.
that day with you.
We did actually.
Yeah.
Let's go. I honestly I was super happy when you say when I saw this ad. First of all, I was really proud of you. And then when you did say this is the casting you did after we met, I was like, that's even better because now I feel like I don't know if I did, but somehow maybe it kind of like contributed to it. So I was like,
100%.
amazing.
Yeah, 100% it contributed. Like I knew that I had to dance a little bit. Probably if I didn't go to the one-on-one that day, I would have done the little dance. But yeah, like from that one-on-one, I had that confidence, and I got to do some little bit like hip-hoppy
That's awesome.
thing. Yeah.
And how many chicken wings did you have to eat during this?
I ate like 60 bites. So not 60 chicken wings, but I would bite into a chicken and then I put it down and then they'd give me a new one, bite into it, and that was like again and again, 60 times.
Did they tell you to come not having any lunch before?
No,
How long does that take though?
Oh, actually, it took pretty quick. Like, there was another model who had to do the same thing. It was a guy, and he was doing it for the first half of the shoot. So during that half, I was getting my makeup done, and then the second half was my turn. And it was just quick, just bite, 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 and then in between they would maybe like add a little bit of, you know,
Seasoning and like.
make it look better and like get food.
Imagine how many chicken is there at the studio.
Oh, it was a lot because even after that they had to stay there to do the close-up shots of the product. Yeah, so the studio was pretty big, and like this corner was like for us models, and the other corner they were making
shit.
Yeah, they had a whole
This
setup.
sounds really good. in the
It
studio.
is so good, yeah. And then we also had a lunch break, and after I ate 60 chickens, they were like, okay, so do you want lunch? And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna go home, bye.
Yeah, it was really good to have you, and looking forward to see what else is next up for you girls in the coming few months, coming few years. Who knows? Because you're just still so young, and there's still so much for you to do. So
It's so fun to catch up.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Hopefully we get to do more one-on-ones, or maybe 3 people together.
yeah,
2-on-1s.
2-on-1s.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Subscribe.
And like.